Welcome back, y'all. It is absolutely beautiful out here, but don't let it fool you. It is cold this morning. I believe I'm gonna slip my coat on over top of all this. We'll say, went up to the local hardware store. Well, kind of local hardware store. It's about 30 minutes from us up in Patrick County, Virginia. It's called Patrick Building Supply. And I hadn't done a lot of business with them in the past just because it's hard to get up there like during normal business operating hours. But I've been up there now 2 times in the past week or so. And I'm going to tell you what, it's a totally different experience dealing with a local place like that over a place like Lowe's. And to be honest, the prices on the lumber anyways is actually cheaper than Lowe's is. But where I was going with that is I bought this pair of coveralls while I was up there. My pair that I had was a pair of Carhartt. These are Bernie. And I really like the way they fit because they zip plumb up to the top and they raise up a lot higher than the Carhartt bibs. And all this right here is covered, where with Carhartt's not like that. But anyways, they had them hanging in there, and I said, you know what? I kind of need a new pair of coveralls. I tried them on, and they fit perfect, so I bought me a pair. And I sure am glad I did because the way the wind's blowing this morning, I need them. But what I'm going to work on now is making the faceplate that my meter and all is going to sit on down here. Well, I've got treated 8-foot 2x8s here. Yep, 8 foot. So I think what I'm going to do is saw this down to exactly 8 foot because it's about a 1/2 inch over. We'll saw that down to 8 foot and then cut it in half. So it'll be exactly 4 foot. I just remembered I got a brand new pair of sawhorses up here. I'm gonna run up here and get them out of the building. I think that'd make it a lot easier than working off of that tall bed. That looks better. Oh yeah. Beautiful. So the plan's gonna be that I'm gonna mount this one right here level across the top. We're gonna cut that post off up there. I'm gonna mark where is level. I'm gonna cut that post off to where it's all level across. And then these will just go all the way down and make one big flat plate for the meter box and a receptacle and all that stuff to mount to. But I think before I go to put any of them up, I'm just gonna go ahead and get everything cut. gonna see if I can mark where level is across here. Should be right there. Yeah, that looks right. That's what I was afraid of, that ground froze. Maybe it'll work though. I'm gonna tell you what, if something don't change out here, I'm gonna have to come out of these cover-offs. Maybe that's a level enough spot to set my ladder. Hopefully I can do what I need to do here. I believe I got a little bit off. Sawed it down on too low. But it'll be all right, I think. One thing's for sure, ain't too cold for them kids to be out here playing. I don't know where Jacob went, but he was just out there. They don't even know I'm watching them. There she is, she see me. Where's Jacob? He's coming, she said. Well, they were both out here just a few minutes ago. They said they ain't gonna let the cold weather stop them. I'm gonna be quite honest with you, it wouldn't be bad at all out here if the wind wasn't blowing. Now he's out there. That's probably gonna try to fall. That's okay. Now you can kind of see what I'm going for. There'll be board after board after board all the way down, and it'll essentially give one big thick wall to mount all this stuff to. there it is. That's what I was after. It's definitely not the most pretty thing in the world, but honestly kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But luckily it's on the back side of the building. I can't see it from the house. That's one reason we chose to put it back here. And I may eventually do something to sort of dress it up a little bit, but for now, that's what they told me they needed, was something built like this to put the meter base and everything on.
I have finally made it out of the house. We've got our schoolwork done. We've ate our lunch. And I decided it was time to come get some fresh air. Usually I walk first thing in the mornings. That's most time when I make those shorts that y'all see. I walk as soon as it starts getting daylight and get my day started. Well, this morning I got up a little after 5. I sat there drinking my coffee, and the wind sounded like it was about to knock my wind chimes plumb off the porch. And so it was very cold this morning and very windy. So I decided just to stay in the house till right about now. I can deal with the cold. It's just the cold plus the wind. I don't care nothing about it if I don't have to get out in it.
Well, I think I'm going to spend a few hours down here working on the barn this evening. The wind's cutting across here pretty good, so I'm not 100% sure how long I'll actually last. But I do have a goal, and that one goal is I'm going to put in my braces, my corner braces right here where this entrance door is going to be. But since the last time y'all saw it, I've got all the bracing in. Everything as far as that goes is done. And I did decide to put in a door right here, an entranceway. That's 9 foot tall. Everything that I've got around here will go through a 9-foot door. And if I ever need to put anything taller than 9 foot in here, well, that end right there, I think, will handle any other thing that I ever bring down here. But I'm going to try to make this the traditional style entranceway for a barn, and I'm going to put the corner braces in, and then all of that will be covered up with the board and batten siding by the time I'm done. So I'll be using this 8-foot 4x6 right here to cut those braces out of. But completely off subject, I want to show y'all something while it's this cold outside. My truck still says it's 29 degrees. However, I think it's warmer than that now. But the Ford 545 I bought, I hadn't really talked a lot about this tractor yet, and still, I'll save most of it for a different video. But while it's cold, I want y'all to look at this. This is the crankingest tractor I've ever had. Now, it's set here, I promise. It's been sitting here for a good 2 weeks at least. I have not started it. So I'm going to see if it proves me wrong or not. But I promise you, I bet you it turns over about a half a turn and starts. And this is no heating either. I have never seen a tractor crank that easy, ever, in cold weather like this especially. I kind of hate to go ahead and cut it off, but I am, because I'm not going to sit down here and listen to it run. But I said, if nothing else, I've got a good cranking tractor out of this here deal. The rest of the tractor might be wore out, but that has got to be the easiest starting tractor I've ever seen in my life. You don't even get a new one that starts that easy hardly. They're at least going to spin over 2 or 3 times before they start. So for these braces, all I'm going to do is just cut some 45s. I'm going to make them about 3 foot long. Foot.
Since the last video y'all saw, I just have to tell y'all, we have fell in love with the flatbread. That stuff, it's just not something a lot of people around here eat. And boy, it is delicious. It is so good. So Andy, he made him another little pizza for lunch. I made me one with ham and cheese. And let the cheese melt. Put some ranch on top. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I made more flatbreads this morning. I made several that I'm going to put up. And that's another easy meal. That's what it's all about anyway, is convenience, right? But make your own convenience foods. Lord, y'all haven't heard me say that so much, but make your own convenience foods. Well, look at there. You feel the wind's been blowing. My blind's in the creek. Ain't no good. What's been coming through here? Mr. Raccoon. Oh, he been all up down right here. Good spot for him. That look like a heavy one. Look how far them tracks are sunk in. That's a big raccoon. See if I can get this thing out of the creek. Okay, hold up. Oh. No harm done. The wind must have just caught it. But I'm going to have to let it dry now before I can fold it up and put it away.
So if this fits like I want it to, I'll make the other side just like this. It would fit, but I messed up one of my cuts. Oh, I think that's about right. What do y'all think from back there? Does that look good? I wish I could see it from back there where y'all are. That looks pretty good, don't it? I do have a gap right there, but that gap's going to be covered up by the siding. And see, on this side, the gap ain't quite as bad, but I messed that cut up. That's all my fault, but that will be covered up so you can't really see it no ways. So next, I need to make one for that side. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
I am going to be working on getting caught up for the upcoming week. By that, I mean, I'm going to be making up some little biscuits for sausage biscuits for us and the kids to eat on for the next few days. That seems to make the mornings go a whole lot smoother, especially with homeschool. I try to have as much ready ahead of time as I can. And actually, things like sausage biscuits are so much better left over anyway, because that sausage kind of has time to soak into that biscuit, and it's great. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to get these biscuits made. Now, I'm going to do pretty biscuits because it's cold and blustery outside, and well, I got the little bit of extra time to make them pretty. And I'm going to show y'all my newfound way of making biscuits. Now, if y'all been around for any amount of time, you say, Megan, you make biscuits every which way, but upside down. Yeah, I know. I do. And it just depends on how the mood strikes me. Sometimes I make drop biscuits, sometimes I make palm bread, sometimes I make biscuits that I pour out in the pan and cut out. Sometimes I make perfect little round biscuits that I roll up in a ball and mash down. I mean, I just make them all kinds of ways. And so I'm going to show you yet another way, and I hope you go through and find your favorite way to make them. I just like to change it up. I get bored doing the same old thing all the time, and so every once in a while I'll go to doing it another way. But I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite ways that I think I've found to make biscuits thus far. We'll see if it sticks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my biscuit pan and put it in my hot oven. I've got my oven on 425 degrees. And this biscuit pan here, I get lots of questions about my pan. So this pan, I got it for Christmas, way before me and Andy were ever even married. It was like a dirty Santa gift, you know, that game you play at Christmas. And that's where I got this from. It's a Paula Deen hoe cake pan. Don't even have any idea if they still make them like this with this little design on them. I know Lodge makes a griddle, but I don't think it's got that design on the side. I think that's what they're called. They're like a cast iron griddle. Anyways, that's what I use for my biscuits. So we'll get the biscuits going. I'm also going to make some party mix to have for everybody to snack on through the week. I love to make party mix this time of year. For whatever reason, it's a good snack when it's cold outside. Don't really make it in the summertime, but it's an excellent little just something to munch on anyway. I've been pretty busy this morning. We did school. I made flatbread, and we had flatbread little meals for lunch today. I've got sourdough, another loaf of sourdough going over here. And I didn't get to show y'all the finished product on my last video. So let me show y'all this real quick while I'm thinking about it before we get started on the biscuits. So we've already eat part of it, of course, but see how that turned out in my long loaf pan? So it's not quite as tall and like mushroom shaped. It's a smaller piece of bread to make a smaller sandwich, but oh, it's good and it lasts longer. And they're just tall enough that you can get them out of the toaster. But you can see that crumb, hopefully, on that bread. But yeah, so I've got more of that going that I'm taking somewhere here in the next couple days. So I thought I'd go ahead and get it made today, because it's such a great day to be inside.
Even though both of these are cut at 45, they should technically line up at the same spot. However, I just want to make sure they do. 25 and a half. $25 and a half. All right. I believe that's it. That's perfect. Get her done. Let's step back and take a look at this thing together. See what it's going to look like. Now, just picture all of this right here boxed in with nothing but the inside of that door frame open. I think it's just going to look plumb gorgeous. Many of y'all have suggested putting a sliding door here. I really like that idea, and I may eventually do that. I'm just not sure. I'm probably not going to do it right now, but I do like that idea, and that definitely may happen in the future at some point.
So here's what we're going to start with. I'm going to put me some grease in my cast iron here. Now, what I'm going to show you is going to go against everything you've ever heard about making good biscuits. I'm just going to tell you that. But it's going to work. Y'all just watch and see. So we're going to take about 3 tablespoons of grease. This can be 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of Crisco, 3 tablespoons probably of even vegetable oil. I don't know. I ain't never made them that way. But we need 3 tablespoons of grease. And this is a method I had never quite tried with this much grease to the amount of biscuits we're going to make. But I found it in a really, really old cookbook that I was sent. Thank you so much for that. And I tried it because I'm all up. I love trying new recipes. And they turned out great. So this is the way I've been making them lately. So anyways, 3 tablespoons of grease. I'm using lard, because y'all know that's what I use for everything. But I'm using lard, and we're going to let that melt. I'm going to do 2 cups of self-rising flour. Now, also with your biscuits, I'm just going to tell you, your flour matters. Some people will argue and say that it don't, but I'm going to tell you right now, I think it matters. And my favorite, personally, a lot of people like White Lily, and yes, White Lily is good flour, and I used it for a long time. But Hudson Cream is my absolute favorite, and I'm not even sure if you can find it everywhere. But they started carrying it at my grocery store, I don't know, a year or 2 ago, and I started using it, and love it. Love Hudson Cream. That's why I don't buy it in bulk, because I don't, anywhere local to me, I can't get this particular flour in bulk, and in my opinion anyway, it makes the absolute best biscuits, best bread, hands down. Now, I'm going to need about a teaspoon of baking soda in with that self-rising flour here. Whew. I don't need that much. There we go. I get a little carried away sometimes. I'm going to mix in my baking soda with my flour there. My grease is getting melted. I'm going to cut that off. I don't want it too terribly hot. This particular recipe uses buttermilk. If you don't readily keep buttermilk on hand, use regular milk. Put your little vinegar in it till it kind of clabbers up, and should be good to go. So we're going to need about 3/4 of a cup, something like that, of buttermilk. And to that buttermilk, before I mix it in, I'm going to pour in my hot grease. And we're going to get this all mixed in together. And if it's too wet, we'll just add a little more flour. It ain't no problem. Now, with biscuits, I try not to mix it too terribly much. Kind of scraping around the edges, getting up all that flour. Now, let's put us some flour down here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to flatten this out. Then we're going to fold it this way. And I like to turn it. Flatten it out a little more. We're going to fold it again. One more time. Now let's get this the way we want it. Wonder if y'all can hear my wind chime out there. It is just cutting a shine. I'm gonna get out my hot pan. With a tablespoon, maybe a little more of butter. Now, I mean, I want a lot of butter here on the bottom of this, and I'm gonna show you why here in just a second. A lot of butter. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut these out. A little flour there. Now, can you see that perfect little biscuit? Now, I have always melted butter and poured it over top of my biscuits. And I thought to myself, I said, why? Why melt it in a different pan when I could just put more here in the hot pan? And watch this. We're going to take that little biscuit and we're going to flip him back over. There we go. Now I've got a nice, beautiful buttered top. And some of y'all are probably watching this and saying, duh, Megan. Well, you know, I never thought of that. I never thought of that. So, don't waste a extra pan melting butter. Just melt you a little extra in your hot pan. Dip it. Flip it over. There we go. So, Maggie's birthday is coming up, which it'll be said and done by the time y'all see this. And one of her requests was she wanted us to go get our fingernails done at a fingernail place. And she told me I had to get mine done too. So if anybody's like, oh my gosh, Megan's done got her fingernails painted. That is why we went and had us a little girls' day. Alright, so now I'll fold back up my dough again. Try not to work it too much. Cut me out some more. And I like to make my biscuits kind of touch each other. It makes them rise up just a little bit better. And I don't think that's enough to do another one. Nope. Alright. So I didn't quite fill up my pan, but we're going to put this in the 425 degree oven for about, let's check on them in about 15 minutes, okay?
So now, we're going to take and lock them braces in with some of these monster screws. 4 of them. Get the big bit. And hopefully with that, these things won't never go anywhere. Both sides are locked in with those big screws. They shouldn't go anywhere ever.
The next thing we're going to make is this party mix. So, I'm going to do this not exactly by a recipe because I'm just using some ingredients that I already had left over from the last time I made it. But I will post the exact recipe down in the description of this video. So that way, y'all can do as I say, not as I do. So these are, which ones are these? These are corn chex. So I'm using my glass pans. I don't have a giant glass pan big enough to do the whole batch, so we're just going to do half and half here. Then we have rice chex. You should also put wheat chex, but I ain't got none. I like to put these pre-seasoned pretzels in mine. It gives it a little different flavor. They're a little bit on the big side, but I like the flavor that it gives the party mix. And all this will be mixed together once it's done anyway, so it's not exactly half. Then we're going to take some Cheez-Its and we're going to do at least a couple of cups here. Maybe a little bit more since I'm slacking on my chex. And my pretzels, actually. There we go. That's Andy and the kids' favorite part anyway, is them cheese crackers. Then I'm going to take mixed nuts. And I'm just going to put this whole container in there. Per Andy's request, he likes a lot in his party mix. So I'll do half the container in this one, half the container in this one. And if you like other nuts in it that are not in the mixed nut, containers, this is very forgiving. The main part that you should focus on is the mixture I'm fixing to show you. This part right here, I mean, put in it what you want. Sometimes I like to put goldfish in it too, but I happen to not have any goldfish right now. So, now, we need 10 tablespoons of melted butter, which I've already melted. Check on my biscuits. Oh, they've got good and brown. All right. So my biscuits are actually good and done in about 14 minutes, but my oven was very hot, like it's been on for a while. And I found that really makes a difference. If I put it in there versus like, all right, well, I'm gonna put this down to 250. I'm gonna put this down to 250 for our party mix now that these are done. But these are some beautiful, oh, they're so soft and fluffy. They're very hot, so I have it laying on the oven mitt. So I need about 3 tablespoons of Wash Your Sister sauce. I'll just eyeball it. There, that's good. I love this stuff, so if there's a little too much in there, that ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Up to nice heaping teaspoonfuls of salt. Now I am using salted butter and also adding salt to it. The salt, this is a salty treat. So you want it to be good and salty. Now we're going to do a teaspoon of onion powder. A teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm going to do a heaping teaspoon because I really like garlic. And we're going to put this Italian herb mixture. There we go. It just looks like a nice science experiment there, don't it? All these beautiful little biscuits. I'm just going to get this good and combined. And I'm going to try to evenly, it looks like I've got, what is that, a cup? Yeah. So I'm going to try to do like a half a cup of this mixture on one pan and a half a cup on the other. So now I'm going to stick this in the oven, and it's going to cook all together for an hour and 30 minutes, but we're going to get it out and stir it every 30, just so, because if you don't, because believe me, I have tried it and not stirred it or forgot about it, or, you know, life happens, and it'll kind of, the mixture on the bottom will kind of burn a little bit if you don't keep it stirred, and so it won't be evenly crispy throughout.
Alright, y'all. Right there's what I've got done this evening. This is what the siding will be mounting to. I've got these spaced 2 foot apart, which I think is right. I made me some spacers to put up each time for the boards to lay on. And yeah, so that's what it's going to look like. And then the board and batten siding will be running up and down like this. I was pretty impressed with how well this went. So anyways, I do have to, I've only got one screw on each end holding it in though, where I'm working by myself. I didn't have nobody to hold nothing, so I didn't nail anything. I will be running 2 nails like this, but like I said, that screw is just kind of holding everything up, and then I'll eventually come back and nail it before I put the siding up. I think right here's a proof that I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to running a sawmill. None of these boards are perfect, like are the same thickness. Even though they were supposed to be when I sawed them, this one down here is bad. Of course, that's twisted out a little bit, so when I pull that in, it's not going to look as bad, but it is pretty bad. And that will pose somewhat of a challenge when I go to put the siding boards on, but I don't think it'll be that bad. And I was able to get the big screws, got all them tightened up on them braces up there. And fortunately, that's not going to be like a load bearing wall or anything, or a beam. That's just pretty much there to hold the siding boards. It ain't really going to have no weight or nothing on it. Well, everything's fed. I put in another bale of hay to the cows.
All right.
And I think I have, even though this is my preferred type of weather, I think I've about had all the wind that I can stand.
Yeah, wind's rough.
Yeah. I think it's gotten worse as the day went on.
Are you going to taste test it and see?
Yeah, let's taste it and see what it tastes like. I believe that's better than the last you made.
Is it? Well, guys, I guess that's going to about wrap up today's video. I'm going to finish making my little biscuits here and put them in the refrigerator. And I'm going to let that cool before I put it up. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope you might have learned a little something. Till we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one. Yeah, we'll put it in that bowl with the lid on it.
This?
Yeah.
The big bowl?
Yeah, but I ain't going to put it in there yet. It's hot, ain't it?
No, it's cold.
Oh.